Praise and honor to you, Lord Jesus. Hail to you, our King. You alone have had compassion on our sins. Praise and honor to you, Lord Jesus. So Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She had to keep this scent for the day of my burial. You have the poor with you always. You will not always have me." Meanwhile, a large number of Jews heard that he was there and came not only on account of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. Then the chief priest decided to kill Lazarus as well, since it was on his account that many of the Jews were leaving them and believing in Jesus. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In around 1975, I was sitting in my study room at the university and I read a letter which came back from the novice master in France, with whom I was in contact at La Trappe, and I had put to him this question: is it not perhaps a waste of human talent and the like to go into total silence and not use what one has, echoing what was being told me by academics all around. And in this letter was this quote: "Ut quid ec perditio?" What use this waste? And his short but pithy letter indicated that that was a classic question and that it had always been looked at and well understood, and that the answer was to be found precisely in this gospel, where the Lord accepted this apparent waste. We notice that in the case of Mary, it is the female element that comes to the fore, that feminine touch, pure nard, wiping with the hair, breaking the vessel. And the Lord accepts it all. And the virile touch, represented unfortunately by Judas Iscariot, is reprimanded. Pure efficacy. Money is not to be thrown away. It could be put to better use. We see that the Lord himself has all the rights. He is Lord of all. And when he has taken the heart, he has taken those rights. For to give the heart is to give also the life. So, the purely contemplative life needs no human justification. It is enough that the Lord of life accept it. He has given life, and he can take it back in that form. Rather, as he gave life to all the angelic choirs, traditionally they are placed in these different levels, these 9 choirs, but some have nothing to do on earth, it would seem, but are occupied totally with the Divine Majesty. And so it is that the mystical body is very rich, and we have no right to look over our shoulder and ask questions about what the Lord is doing with another soul. These are the rights of God and the secret of the King. And if the Lord delights in pure love, gratuitous expenditure of all energies, then that is enough. For the Church functions because of all these roles being operative in complete harmony, like a great symphony of service and praise. And when those elements of gratuitous praise are lacking, then we become very efficient machines, but eating ourselves up. The life is not there. In the heart of my mother, the Church, said Saint Therese of Lisieux, I will be love. There is also another element to this gospel which is worth looking at. It's the fact that the Lord accepted the gift of human friendship and thereby sanctified it and consecrated it for all time. He found in his humanity consolation at Bethany. He loved those 3 siblings, and it was a home from home for him. It is good that we honour our friends and give them consolation and not pain. It is said of St. Norbert that he would rest his soul on evermode. He was his closest collaborator and faithful friend, and he had complete confidence in him. But the expression is in his vita. He would rest his soul on evermode. But there is more. Commentators have picked up this other part of the Lord's answer: the poor you have always with you. Me you do not have always. And they have applied that to the contact with the Lord at Holy Communion. That should be the moment at which we do nothing, but just be. Be what He wants us to be at that time. Love available unto love. And if that's not happening at that point, then our whole day is missing the point. And if we multiply that by the life of the Church then can be a very good performer, but the encounter can be missing. Tendentially, that's been happening a lot more in recent years, because there can be a huge emphasis on 2 things. Music ministry, which is very good and uplifting, but for those involved, at that very moment of encounter can be centre stage. So if that is throughout their liturgical life happening, they are in danger of missing the Eucharistic point. There is also the other bit, that there is a tendency to fill up a gap. The people can't bear silence anymore, so anything but silence will happen at that point. It will be speeded up by unnecessary use of extraordinary ministers. Anything but a pause. It will be filled with much movement. And worse still, it will be then filled before even the post-communion prayer with things like notices. It can even go to a disastrous mode of applause. Now this is a complete loss of the Eucharistic encounter as envisaged at the Last Supper. And certainly the Lord would say to us, you do not always have me. But this would be the point, to think of him. He will look after the parish affairs in a different mode. If the parish at that point is his, at that nuptial moment of Eucharistic encounter. This week is a time also when much energy can go into preparation. It is well that it should be so, for it is part of what Mary did, the ointment. But it must be done peacefully, lovingly, in such a way that the structure is not the centre of its own attention, but Jesus in the midst. In the Triduum especially, it is important to be very calm, for the Lord has much to do himself in those sacred moments, and he asks us just to be still. Excelere regis prodiunt, fugit crucis mysterium, quo carne carnis conditor, suspensus est patibulum. Quo vulneratus in super, mucrone diro lancem, ut nos lavaret crimine, manavit undet sanguine. Arbor decoret fulgida, ornata regis purpura, electa dignus dipite, tam sancta membra tangere. Beata cuius brachiis secli pependit pretium, statera factes corporis predamque tulit tartari. Salvara salve victima de passionis gloria, quam vita mortem pertulit, et morte vitam redidit. O crux vespes unica, hoc passionis tempore, pis ad auge gratiam, reisque dele crimina. Te funt salutis Trinitas, collaudet omnis Spiritus, quos per crucis mysterium salvas fove per saecula.